Good evening, everyone. I'm Dave Eldon. With me is Dalton Grimes, and we have got
Hello.
a special treat for everybody today.
So, David, I've been feeling like I just have so much time lately.
Really?
You know, yeah.
Maybe we should go to 2 broadcasts a week instead of one every other week.
Well, not like that much time. But
Okay.
you see, with work, it's starting to wind down a little bit. It's harvest season. Things on the farm are slowing down. I think I can
Now,
probably
you work
invest
on a farm, by the way,
I
and
do.
that's really cool. I want to put that out there.
Harvest season would be significantly less impactful if I didn't work on a farm.
Yeah.
But with harvest season coming up, I'm gonna have a lot more time to dedicate to things like judging
And winning?
and winning and forthing.
Dying.
So-
There's a trade term there.
Yeah. What do you think I can do?
Well, I've got
Any
an
thoughts?
idea. I've got an idea of something you might be interested in, and that is some judging projects. So this is something
David,
that
I'm not in school. I'm not doing projects.
Oh yeah, well this is something that just is a little bit unexpected to hear you say on a live broadcast of Judging for the Win, which is a pretty excellent judge project, if I do say so
This isn't a
myself.
project, David. We're having fun.
That's right, and that's basically the goal of judge projects. Is to do something that doesn't seem like work and only seemed like fun. So hopefully that's how all of you feel about watching Judging for the Win. That's something that I feel when I'm doing these episodes here and doing the editing and putting them on YouTube. All that stuff is super premium fun, and that is what your goal is for the project.
and it's all for you.
Yeah, all for you, our viewers.
Did not plan that.
No, we did not plan it, but it kind of is one of those things where like once it was happening, you knew it was happening.
Oh, opportunity presented itself.
Yeah.
So, judging projects are a great way for judges to help get themselves involved in the community. Sometimes it may feel like you're not as involved as you'd like to be. Maybe it's because you live somewhere farther away from other judges. Say you're the only judge in your town and you're kind of just isolated by yourself. Projects are one of those ways that's really easy for judges to get involved with each other and to help their players and to help their community and possibly even help the program. So it provides a lot of great things, and there's so many different varieties of projects out there. One of which is ours. Judging for the Win itself is a project.
Sure is.
David, as
It's
the
a big project.
I was gonna say, as the creator of Judging for the Win, what would you say your goals were when you thought of this?
Okay, so I'm going to take a step back. So Judging for the Win is actually not just the Twitch channel, and it's not just the YouTube channel. It's not just the blog. It's like a family of stuff. It's my like umbrella term that
your
I have
brand.
for most of the content that I create for the judge program. So there really wasn't a specific time when I thought to myself like, hey, I really think that Judging for the Win should be a project, and this is what it should be. It was more along the lines of like, I started out writing the New Set Digests, and the New Set Digests got a lot of positive feedback, and so then I started publishing the New Set Digests, and so that got a lot of positive feedback. So I started a blog, and then I started publishing articles on the blog every month, and of course, like there's not a magic set every month, thank goodness. So that got some positive feedback. So then I started thinking, hey, what would be cool? Would be like the Rules Day Tuesday project. I was the leader of that for a while. Now Marcos is running that. And then after that, I did the just this year is when we started doing the blog and the YouTube channel, and that dovetailed nicely with my thing that I also started doing at the beginning of the year, which was the judge conferences. So you see the judge conference presentations on the YouTube channel also. So there wasn't a specific time when I was like, hey, I should start doing this. It was more along the lines of like, hey, this is a thing that would be cool to have. Let's do it. And then it just like gradually added on to there. And I think that's kind of how a lot of the projects tend to go. Is it's not a thing where somebody says, hey, it'd be this specific project is going to exist and I'm going to do it. It's more along the lines of, okay, it'd be cool if we had this, and then they do like a small thing that fills that immediate need, and then as they keep on doing it, it's useful to more and more people, and more people get touched by this project. So they expand the scope little by little, and eventually it grows into a big project. I think if you ask like a lot of the big project leads, you'll get a story that's similar to that.
I would agree. Anyone that I've talked to who has done a lot of work on creating a project or trying to expand it or to sort of move forward with that, I've never met anyone who just said, I have a great idea for a project, and this is my project, and that's how we're going to do it. It's always started as someone with an idea that wants to see a change.
Yeah.
And it could be just a little change, or it could be something a little larger that they want to take some steps towards.
Yeah.
And they begin what they can when they realize that they need help and someone else to kind of carry the torch with them. That's usually when it spirals into project.
Yeah, and we'll start. We'll talk a little bit more later about how to start a project and what sort of things you would need to be doing in order to do that. But for now, let's talk about the very, very basics, especially for those of us in the audience who are not judges. What is a judging project?
Let's see. For the judge fair, I had to glue my science project onto some poster boards.
Oh yeah.
And I brought that to the fair.
I remember.
And I stuck there.
I remember the science fair. I always got points taken off because I wasn't artistic enough, which I thought was a little bit maybe not in the spirit of a science fair, but.
Right? Like, all you're trying to do is be good at science. I never said I was good at coloring and drawing.
Yeah.
So, judging projects. I don't know what answer you're looking for, David.
Well,
do we have a definition?
No, I mean that's kind of an interesting point. There isn't a real like specific thing that we have anywhere that's like a judging project has to have these like qualifications or else it doesn't count. So
I could create some.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that a judging project should be aimed at improving the Magic community.
Yeah.
And I recognize that that's really broad.
Yeah.
That's incredibly vague. But that's kind of what they're all about, is as a judge, as a leader in your community, you are helping take those steps to try to further your community in some way, shape, or form. This could be promoting rules knowledge and policy. This could be helping other judges feel connected. This could be following up with judges and making sure that once they've hit L1, they know what's going on, or they know what to do if they want to make L2.
And in fact, those are all examples of existing projects.
Wow. I'm so good at this.
Yeah.
It's like I pay attention sometimes.
Yep.
Or it could be things like making your gaming stores more inclusive, or making events more fun and exciting. It doesn't just have to be about judges to judges. It doesn't have to just be judges to players. There's such a huge umbrella of things that I think that's what makes projects really cool, is how much choice you have in what you're doing.
And we'll talk about highlight a few existing projects later on in the episode. Also, there's a lot of great stuff, and you can definitely take some inspiration.
I would say that
maybe you'll see something that strikes your fancy, and you want to get involved.
Yeah, for the most part, you'll find that if you can think of it, there's probably a project for it.
And if you can think of it and there isn't a project for it, that's a great sign, because that means
it's your project.
Yeah, you can get on a ground floor on that one.
So we'll talk about making the project later.
So I'll add one thing in addition to something that like helps the Magic community. I'll say that project involvement is also a judge project has the the additional qualifier of it's for judges to do.
Yes.
So it's basically exactly what it says on the tin. It's a project that judges do, and that's what a judging project would be. So that we gave you some examples of some stuff that judge projects do, and you can get an idea of the kind of stuff that judging projects typically kind of gravitate towards. If you look on Judge Apps. Judge Apps is where they have like a big list of all of the ones that are in Judge Apps, which is many of them. I'm not even sure if I would say most of them, because it's not a necessary thing to have it on Judge Apps.
No. To be fair, is Judging for the Win on Judge Apps?
No, it is not.
But it's a pretty cool project. And I'd also say that with Judge Apps, chances are that if it's only one person doing an object, then they may or may not bother making a page for it, because it's just on them. For the longest time, Judging for the Win was just David. And I don't mean just David isn't like, oh, well, it's just David. I mean it isn't like, it's just David.
Yeah.
He was doing all of this on his own. And even to this point, all I really do is hang out here on Thursdays.
I was going to say, you see everything that Dalton does for Judging for the Win.
Hey, I wrote one article.
That's true.
And then it
Was
got
published?
outdated by the time it was published. It was Classes of Information.
Yeah,
and I sent it to David. It got lost in the email. Finally found it again. About 2 weeks later, they added a fourth class.
Yeah, it was great. But you can
Woe
watch Dalton
is
and
me.
me's presentation that we did on this channel, and that is up to date. So that's still cool.
Yes.
So yeah, like if it's just you doing a project, which for a long time Judging for the Win was just me, and even now it's pretty much just me and Dalton. So if that is the case, it doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. But if you have something bigger scale, or if you have something that is more people involved in it, then there are a lot of tools, like good collaborative tools, like you can have forums and judge apps that are specific for your projects, and
Yep.
that's helpful.
Also, along the lines of, if you need someone, say that David and I were doing a project for this and we really needed a graphic designer. We could post, we could create something for Judging for the Win and say, hey, we are looking for a graphic designer.
If you have graphic design experience or video editing experience, email judgingftw@gmail.com.
That was incredibly subtle.
I was whispering, so hopefully the people who with graphic design and video editing experience heard that.
That was secret streamer code.
Yeah, there's no secrets or streams about that. Graphics design is something that I'm not great at, but you know who is great at it?
One of you.
Well, actually, the people in the graphics design group who made this background that you see here,
That is
was
also
made.
true.
There's a judge project that makes graphic assets for other judge projects, and that is pretty helpful because I do not have any ability to do stuff like that, or a lot of time to learn how to have the ability to do stuff like that. So thanks a lot. Huge thank you to all the people who are in that project, and especially the person who made this banner for me specifically.
We appreciate
We do.
you.
We appreciate.
All right, that's enough hearts for this episode.
I think we probably could get like one or two more in there if we really tried. If we really tried and believed in ourselves hard.
Any hearts from chat?
Yeah. The chat.
So, judging projects by judges for the Magic community.
Yep.
What about judges just going out and getting ice cream together? Is that a project?
That's
It's for
kinda
their
debatable.
community.
And
their judges.
It kind of depends on what their plan is when they're getting ice cream together. Like, for example, me and Dalton are good friends, and every now and then, I have too much, brownies, and this is the problem with like living by
He's
yourself.
not making up a story. Like this has happened on multiple occasions.
Yeah, this is the problem of living by yourself, is that like
and loving
you
to
can
bake.
you can bake like a whole tray of brownies or a whole plate of cookies, and you could eat them all yourself. But that has some health consequences, or so I'm
Gotta
told.
watch the figure.
So me and Dalton are friends, and sometimes people who are friends with me get rewarded in the form of baked goods. And so if me and Dalton wanted to like sit down and eat some cookies together, that it's probably not a project. But if I wanted to like invite a bunch of judges over to my house and we would all have cookies and talk about judging stuff, then hey, that could definitely be a project. There definitely are projects where judges organize weekly meetups or monthly meetups or whatever timetable works for everybody meetups, and a bunch of judges from whatever geographical area they're in get together at someone's house or someone's game store and talk about stuff. Yeah, that's a project that I was involved in earlier. We still do that in Indiana. We do it once per quarter. All the judges from Indiana get together, and in one of the stores in our local to some of us area. Some of us have to drive. And yeah, we talk about the state of the state, and we talk about what's going on and interesting stuff that's coming down the pipeline. So yeah, that could qualify.
Yeah, and some of those things you might notice could fall under like a conference or a meetup or things like that.
Yeah, talk to your regional
Just because
coordinator.
it's one thing doesn't mean it can't be another. Something like quarterly conferences. If you are organizing those for the betterment of your community,
Hey, that's a judge project.
yeah. So if you're doing that as judges for the betterment of your community, that falls under both. It's a project
Yeah.
and it's a conference.
Hey. So Dalton,
Hey.
do you know who's in charge of organizing all the judge conferences in the Great Lakes
It's me.
region?
No, wait, wrong host. You.
So that's another project that I'm involved with. That is definitely something that is a great project. If you're involved, if you're the sort of person who likes organizing stuff, regional coordinators are almost certainly looking for people to organize judge conferences in their region. So you might take a shot over there and shoot them an email and see if there's something that you could help out with. That is another amazing thing that you could help out with.
Mhm. And then, if you're a player,
Yeah.
don't be discouraged
Oh yeah.
because you could be a judge.
Yeah.
We'll help. We'll do it.
Oh yeah.
There's a project
We
for
love
that.
to do that. There's definitely a project for helping people who are interested in becoming judges to become judges. And if you're someone who has a player's ability to understand game states and follow the stuff that's going on in Standard, Modern, and Legacy, then that's another thing that we definitely would be interested in seeing. Would be people talk about what's good in Standard right now, and how can judges keep on track of or keep on top of all of that stuff.
Yeah, something as simple as, hey, these are all the detrimental triggers in Standard.
Hey, that's a project.
That's a project.
I use that project all the time when I'm writing new set digests and related articles.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you look at the scope of how many projects there really are. David and I were scrolling through this about 20 minutes ago.
Oh yeah,
And the
picking out
page
our
is
favorite ones.
crazy.
Yeah, insane.
Also in many different languages.
Yeah, if you don't speak English, then you probably are not watching this right now. But if you speak English in another
Pero
language,
puedes.
then you can probably see some other projects that you might be interested in. That
Y si quieres ver una escena en español, es una idea. Por favor.
Há alguns projetos em português agora.
Yeah, if you want to help translate Judging for the Win into other languages, project.
Yeah, go for that. We definitely could
we'd love
use
to hear
that. We definitely could use that. We have some Chinese judges working on the new set digest articles, and they translate them into Chinese. They've done that for the last 3 sets, I think, now. So big shout out to Siang and all of them for the work that they put in. And we will be publishing the Dominaria New Set Digest link on my blog also. They have it up right now on the Chinese blog, and I am putting it up on my blog tonight. So that's exciting.
Awesome. So we've kind of talked about
A lot about the projects
we've
that
talked a
we're
lot
involved
about
with.
projects that we are involved with or know people who are involved with.
Yeah.
So let's say I heard something I really liked.
Yeah.
Let's say that I
Yeah.
think that becoming helping people become L1s is really cool, and I'd like to be involved in that.
Sure.
How do I go about that?
All right. So there's a
What
couple
should
of
I do?
things. There's a couple of things that you can do. The first thing I would do is get on Judge Apps, and you see on the left hand side of the page it'll say projects, right? So you click on the projects, and that'll bring up a list of all the judge projects. So you can scroll through there, and you can see if anything seems similar to what you're thinking about doing or interested in doing. That's the first step I would take.
And spend time doing this.
Oh yeah. That's the first step for a reason.
Yeah, there's a lot of projects that you might find on there that look to be repeats, or someone started something and then another person's picking it up, and chances are if you're trying to start a project, you don't have to start from zero.
Yeah, for sure.
Chances are someone else has already started something or would have some more information on what to do, and it's really worth your time to look into that.
Yeah, and also don't get discouraged if somebody else had your idea first. I will tell you, in my judging experience, it is very unlikely that if you emailed them and said, "Hey, I was just thinking this would be a great idea for a project. Do you need any more help?" It is very unlikely, in my opinion, that they would say, "Nope, we're full up. Sorry,
Done.
no,
If you think
we
Judging
don't
for the
need
Win
any
is
more
really
people."
cool. If you think Judging for the Win is cool, we need more help.
Yeah, I mean, literally any project I am a part of, if someone came up to me and they were like, "Hey, is there any way I could help out?" I would find something for them to help out. there is no way on earth I would turn away a person who wanted to be a part of a project that I was involved in.
I offered my help to David. Now we have a stream.
Yeah, we snapped that one off.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And just because someone has had your big idea before doesn't mean they thought about everything you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe, David and I, we started talking, and David probably had the idea to do a stream before, to verbalize and turn what he has into audio. But who knows if he would have come up with what we have gotten to at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Chances are probably David's a very smart guy.
Man.
But it's not always going to be the same product just coming from one person as it might from 2 or 3 or 4 people, especially if they are incredibly invested in what they're doing.
Yeah, that, and then there's another possibility, which is that like they were like really invested in what they were doing, and then like other stuff happened. So now that they like don't have as much time to put into that project, maybe they're looking for somebody else who can take a more active role or who can afford to put more time and energy into it.
Shilling pause. Nick's name. Hopefully after the end of this stream. We are super close to affiliate, and we're really excited about that. And hopefully by the next time you see us, we'll be real.
Yeah, we just need the viewers per episode. That's all we're waiting on right now. We have our goal of followers, and we have our goal of like all the other stuff. We just need lots of people to watch this. So yeah, be sure to tell all your friends or whatever.
And if you think of a really cool emote for us,
oh yeah, we're gonna definitely
fun.
We're definitely doing an emote contest once we hit affiliate. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one.
Yeah, I don't know, like judging for the win, like.
There's people who come up with stuff like that, and I think that might be a really cool project for somebody if you wanted to get involved.
Yeah. Always need people.
Yeah. So that's we're going to try not to shill too much more for project help. I think everybody has the idea that if they wanted to help, me or Dalton or whoever it is in any project that they see that's really cool, I think that they have the idea that could probably happen. So what else is there for the next steps? So we talked about step 1, go on the Judge apps and say, okay, let's see if anybody else is doing this or a similar project. So that's step 1. Step 2 would be the next step I would take. If you don't see anything promising on Judge apps, then I would go to the regional coordinator and I would be like, hey, so here's this project idea that I have, and this is what I'm planning on doing. And a lot of the time, they will be able to set you up with like either some other people who, they might feel would be a good fit, or maybe some regional resources to help you guys get started and help you be familiar with all the resources that are available to you. Like for example, when I first started writing articles, I did not know that the Magic Judge blog portal was a thing. And so I had my own WordPress. It might still be up there, but it probably isn't. But anyway, that's where I was publishing all my stuff to. And then someone was like, hey, Dave, what would be cool is if you got like an official blog on the blog things. And I was like, oh my gosh, that would be really cool. So then the magic happened and I got a blog. And so the same thing with the graphic design gang. I did not know that was a project, and then I found out about it, and then I asked them if they could help me, and then they helped me. So that is another thing that happens. It's amazing. So if you go to the regional coordinator, then they can kind of cut out a lot of that process of discovery, because they will be familiar with those types of resources, because that is one of the things that the regional coordinator does, is help people in their region do stuff. So they will probably have a great, a greater understanding of what types of stuff would be available for someone who wanted to do that type of project.
Yeah. Another thing that they may be able to help with is put you in touch with someone who has experience doing this.
Yeah.
Or who may have some advice to offer. So, I'm going to shout out to our friend Min, is a judge in our area. Great. Min's great. One thing he's wanted to do recently is help to promote game nights in judges.
Yeah.
Connecting them through like Discord or such services to have fun and play games together, which I think is great. It sounds really cool.
Yeah, I've done it a couple times. It was great.
Yeah, it's a fun time. What Min was interested in doing was helping promote togetherness, and other judges in the area who might be interested in doing that would probably want to talk to Min about it, to learn about what worked for him, what didn't work, maybe how they can take what he has done and improve upon it, and then maybe together through putting two minds on the same project,
Yeah.
they're going to get something that really works.
Yeah.
So just being able to know what has been tried and what hasn't is going to be super beneficial for that.
Yeah, or another example would be like judge meetups. We had the Fort Wayne area judges did a judge meetup every month, and the Toledo judges actually consulted with us to get ideas about what they should be doing because they wanted to start a monthly judge meetup of the same type in their area. So we talked with them, and we gave them some ideas about what we had done and what we were doing, and that is another benefit that you have if you work closely with other judges. You can get the experience, and like Dalton said earlier, you don't have to start from square one. Someone else maybe has done squares 1 through 3, and then you could start on square 3, and that saves you some time and some energy, and makes everything go a lot smoother too.
Awesome. So David, I've checked Judge Apps.
Yeah.
I've thought of something that I really want to do. I've talked to my RC about it.
Yep.
What next? Like, let's say I found one.
Yeah.
I found one. I've talked to my RC about it. They think I might be a good fit. What should I do?
So you found an existing project?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next step is if you're on Judge Apps and it's a Judge Apps project, you use the Judge Apps mail or some other communication channel to talk to whoever is in charge and say, hey, thought this project that you're doing is really cool. Wondered if you could be, if I could help out with it. And after they say yes, which is probably going to happen, within reason, of course, then you can talk to them and be working on the project. So that's like easy mode, right? Like that's the easiest, best possible. So a little bit harder mode would be after there isn't anything on Judge Apps and your RC tells you, there's someone who is doing something similar to this over in somewhere else. Then you could email that person and talk to them and coordinate with them. And then the hardest mode
Let's do super hard.
Yeah, the hardest mode is wow, that's a really great idea for a project. I don't know anybody who's doing that. And
I can't believe no one's thought about it.
Oh boy. And it's the hardest mode, but it's also the best because that means that you get to be the
most
person.
experience.
Yeah, you get the ground floor. So that's really top tier, and when you get that happening, that's really a great feeling because I don't know about you, but for me, Judging for the Win is like my baby, and I imagine that if anybody starts a project, that's kind of how they feel too, and it's a great feeling to know that this project that you started is something that other people are seeing and getting value out of. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we have 8 viewers
boy.
that are enjoying this.
Boy.
That's pretty cool.
That is.
The 8 people are out there.
That's
hanging out
above
with us
3
right now.
That's above 3.
That's above the 3 we need.
Which is a great number.
Yeah, so being able to start that project and begin something new is really cool, really exciting, can probably be kind of scary too.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's true too, I suppose.
Yeah, you have no idea what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
When David and I made our first episode here, we really didn't even know what direction we wanted to go in.
Oh yeah.
Did we want to cater to players? Did we want to cater to judges? Did we want to talk about
we didn't have this. Does anyone remember when we had to hold cards up on screen and
was
say,
horrible.
"Wow, the auto card helper"?
Hey, imagine that this Game Boy is a
magic card.
A magic card. Yeah, it was really bad.
That's literally what. Go on YouTube and watch our first episode if you think we're making it up. We're not.
And so by going through those hoops and actually learning what worked and what didn't, we have come to a much, much better stream.
And that I think is a really exciting part about project involvement, by the way, is seeing what happens and seeing how the stuff that you contribute to a project takes you from this level to this level to this level. Seeing that is just amazing, and it's one of the things in judging that never gets old for me.
And another thing that's really cool about it that may not come up as often, what if David's in a job interview and they say, hey David, what kind of experience do you have working online?
Well,
and he can say, look at this entire selection that I have created. I've created articles, letters, questions, rules, video content. He has so much under his belt as resume builders that these projects can create for him. If anyone asks me how I am at personal speaking, I can pull up videos online and say, this is me presenting at a conference. You can see 20 people in the background, and this is how I did.
Yeah.
Other judges can say, yes, I manage a group of over 80 people as we go and we teach others rules, or there's so much cool stuff available as well for you that may not be as obvious, but it certainly has some merit to it.
Yeah, and this is one of the things, like, I understand people thinking when we talk about, hey, project involvement. I know what you're thinking. You know, I'm not dumb. I can hear you thinking it through the computer right now. It's like, why would I, you know, spend my own personal time, energy, resources on like this thing where I'm not getting any, like in most cases, I'm not getting any tangible compensation. And that is a great point. And if you find yourself thinking that, you probably are not in a great project for you, because the goal for project development and the goal for project involvement is to be thinking, wow, this is so cool that I get to have these experiences and I get to be a part of this project. Don't make project involvements because you think someone is out there like making you do a project. Do your projects because you think, hey, this would be really cool to get to do. Like, one of the big reasons why I wanted to get on Twitch is because I think Twitch is a great platform. I think Twitch is an amazing way for judges to talk to lots of judges all at the same time. I think video content is an amazing medium, and I personally am incredibly interested in videography. And so that's the reason why I wanted to start this channel, because I thought, hey, you know what would be a really cool way to get some experience doing some videography and, like, you know, do all this other stuff. Hey, we could start a Twitch channel for judges, and that is it's great. Like, this is not my only Twitch channel. There are actually 2 other Twitch channels that I manage, and the experience that I got from doing this one definitely, for sure, gave me like the confidence to start other ones, gave me the know-how to get them off the ground.
Yeah, and there are some projects out there that are incredibly amazing at what they do, that I would have absolutely no interest in. I recognize that these projects are super beneficial. One that's coming to mind is IPG for Players. I believe that they are the organization, the project that went through and basically annotated the IPG.
Actually, that was the annotated IPG project.
Oh, wrong one. Annotated IPG.
Annotated MTR, which is I remember that one.
They went through the entirety of the IPG and the MTR and broke down the rules jargon into
English.
Made it much easier for you to understand at a glance. Super beneficial, really helped me study when I was making L2. I would have no interest in that whatsoever. That is not the type of person that I am. I would not want to sit through things like...
I was really interested in it.
David's not a human. Like, the more I talk with David, the more I'm convinced that, like, he doesn't sleep and he's not a human.
Well, like, that like fits really well with my other like project involvements, like writing articles and talking about judging policy and philosophy is something that is really interesting to me also. So.
But I know for a fact that hanging out with David on Thursday nights and talking with you all and sharing information, this is something I do enjoy. I love education and I love teaching, and so a medium like this is great for me. And in addition to that, finding a project that you're going to enjoy doing matters a lot as well.
Yeah.
If you say, oh, well, my friend Marcos does this project and I like Marcos, but I don't really think
the peer pressure.
I enjoy it, that's not a good reason to join a project.
The peer pressure, yeah.
Maybe if Marcos needs a hand with something, you can help, but you shouldn't.
Yeah.
You shouldn't dedicate yourself to that project if you don't have the drive.
So the moral is, don't do a project if it's going to be work for you. Do a project because it's going to be interesting to you, or it's going to be rewarding for you, or because you think it would be really cool to get to do it. That is the kind of projects that you are going to be putting forth your best effort in. That is the kind of projects that is going to be the most successful for you, and that is what you, like, in my opinion, that is what you should be looking for a project. And the judge program, one of the things I really love about the judge program is it's so broad. You know, someone like me can like actually find enjoyment in like reading 200-page technical manuals and you know, trying to absorb that information and put it into a bite-sized chunks. Someone like Dalton, maybe that's not for him. No. But the great part about the judge program is the breadth of the stuff that you can do in the judge program is so wide. And there really is, in my opinion, it would be shocking to me if there was somebody who couldn't find something that they were really interested in doing within the scope of the judge program.
Yeah. And it really helps get people involved, because Magic's a game that brings in so many different people. If you go to any sort of tournament, you will see people of all sorts and varieties. People that you might peg as like the cool kids in high school or the theater kids in high school.
Man.
Or if you go by stereotypes, you'll find everyone from high school.
True story. Someone in my that I went to college with, he's a Magic player. I met him at I saw him at GP Vegas last year when I was there. He's like literally an MMA fighter. So like not the stereotype Magic player at all. Really cool guy, really amazing person. Shout out to Matt. You're awesome.
Yeah, so because Magic brings in so many different people, you'll find so many different people in the judging community as well.
Yeah.
Because essentially all we are is just a nice sampling of players.
Yeah.
So because of that, you'll also find so many different people that you might really enjoy working with.
Exactly.
As well as the projects you're on. Like, I enjoy hanging out with David every week.
Aw.
It's a good time. We do a lot of fun things. We just have fun here.
He's just saying that because I made cake for him.
Did you?
Well, not recently. But
Okay. I got really excited there for a moment. One in the chat if David should make me cake.
Oh man, we're about to see a bunch of ones, I suppose.
I hope so.
If you haven't experienced my baking, it's another project that I'm involved with. Not a judging project, but
A David project.
It's a David project, and for sure that's something that, you know, maybe you can see the tangible reward a little bit easier with something like baking. But that's another thing that I think would be a good idea to look at is stuff that you would feel rewarded if you got to do. So
Hey, look at that. 2 ones in the chat.
how bad? How many of them were you?
Half.
So really, there's only one.
Hey, it counts.
How did that happen?
Wow, look, the page promoted us.
Yeah,
This is
okay.
great. That wasn't even me, that was David.
Yeah, that
He
one
wants to
was
make
me.
me
I want to
cake.
make cake. I like making cake. So that's the idea with the project involvements, right? You want to do stuff that you would want to do normally.
Yeah. So I'd say probably the 2 biggest reasons not to do a project. Number 1 would be
Peer pressure.
Peer pressure. Or let me go with 3. Number 1 is peer pressure. Number 2 is you don't have interest in it, or you don't feel rewarded from it.
Yeah.
Number 3 is you don't have the time.
Yeah.
That's totally
That's
fine.
a huge one. That's a huge
Not
one.
having time is by all means a reason not to join a project. If you can't dedicate the time to complete the tasks that you need to, then it is better for you to give them to someone who can
Yeah.
than to try to make up for that.
Yeah, and it happens all the time. Like, and hey, you have 24 hours in a day. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. If you have other stuff going on during 29 or during 19 of them, then don't give away time that you don't have. That's
Yeah.
the bottom line.
There's no shame in that. And if you start a project and something comes up, say you got a new job or you have a new kid or
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that goes for like any judging involvement, by the way, not just projects.
Yes, but we're talking about projects.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no shame in saying, "Hey, project lead, I've had some stuff come up, and I need to take a little bit of time for myself. Let me know. I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know what's going on."
For sure.
So I would say that's probably one of the biggest reasons. And when you do have time again, if it's something you still feel like being involved in, that's great. Hop back in.
Yeah.
Try to pick up where you left off, or maybe your time away you've learned something new.
So what are the big reasons that you would want to join a project then? We talked about
It's
why you
totally
wouldn't want to.
awesome.
Okay, well, that's kind of vague. Could you maybe be more specific?
Well, maybe. Number 1 is, in my opinion, it's something that helped you.
Yeah, okay.
So the reason I came into Magic was because I had a really cool judge at my local store that, he made the game seem really cool, and he definitely did a lot with players to help them out. And so whenever I think about myself judging, I always think about that and how I want to help other new players the same way that he helped me. So part of that is I wanted to become a little more involved in things. So that's my number 1. Probably not your number 1. What is your number one?
Well, let's see. That actually is like a very big one, is because like you see a void in the program, or you see something that you think would make the program better, and then you want to do it. So that is a really great way to start a project, and a really great motivation for doing a project. Actually, the most recent project that I started at Judging News on Twitter is exactly that. Like it's something that I thought would be a really great thing to have, and nobody as far as I knew did it, and so I thought it would be great to have it, so now we have it. So that's literally all it takes. It literally is all it takes is for you to think, wouldn't it be cool if, and then you be the person who does it. So that's a big one. So another good way, or another good thing about project involvement is preventing burnout. So this is something that might be like kind of a little counterintuitive, right? Because most people is like, hey, doesn't working hard cause burnout? And the answer is only if that hard work is unrewarding, right? So it is rewarding hard work, then it basically works against burnout, because it gives you new opportunities and gives you chances to do stuff you wouldn't otherwise be doing. And the novelty factor is a very powerful anti-burnout pill. So that is number 2 on my list of things why project involvement is a great thing to consider. Number 3 is working with judges.
Wait, I don't get it.
Well,
I
you
thought
asked.
we were taking turns.
Oh, are we taking turns?
Number 3 is working with other judges.
Okay. You can have that one. That's fine. I got lots of reasons, man.
We're really cool people.
Yeah,
we love
are.
hanging out with each other. Chances are we probably share a pretty big common interest.
All right. So if that doesn't strike your fancy, then you could be a little bit more selfish. And what I mean by that is, if you work with judges, that means that other people, and presumably those are like experienced people that you're working with if they're the project leads, other people get to see you and see you work. And how could that help you? Well, let's say that there was a big event that you wanted to apply to, like a GP or an SCG, and you apply, and nobody's ever heard of you because you're new in the judge program, and you don't have a name for yourself yet. But you work on a project, and that project lead is somebody who SCG or Channel Fireball or whoever the tournament organizer has heard of. They will for sure be able to talk to that person, and that person can tell the tournament organizer about how great of a job you're doing in this project, and I think he would be a good person to staff on your event. And that is a pro that you can have if you work on projects with other judges who are experienced. That is a great way to meet and know other experienced judges. Is a great way to get some behind the scenes access in the judge program. Yes. And it also for sure increases your chances of getting staffed, because if I'm asked to say, hey, Dave, if someone comes to me and they're like, hey, Dave, what's your opinion of X judge? If X judge is somebody who I don't know at all, then I will say, I don't know anything about this person. If it's someone who, goes to my game store, I can say, I go to their game store, but I don't really know anything because I never really talk to them. If this person is somebody that I work in a project with, I have stuff that I can say about them. I can talk about, whenever I have a job for them to do, they do it. They're really eager to get involved. They're have a great attitude towards this project that we both work on. I can think of stuff that is relevant to a tournament organizer that I can talk to. So that is for sure a thing that happens. If you are involved in a project with experienced judges, then you can absolutely say on your application for whatever tournament that you want to apply to, hey, I work on this project with these judges, and if you want to learn more about me, you can talk to them. Tell them first. Tell your experienced judge allies first that you're going to do that. But if they're real people, I've never heard someone say, no, you can't name drop me if it's a situation like that. That's 100% legitimate thing to do.
Yeah. Two notes on that. Number 1 is I can 100% attribute my first time getting staffed on a large event to having references.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
If it hadn't been for Dave Eldon and our friends Patrick Copley and Marco Sanchez,
yeah.
I never would have gotten my first event as SCG Cincinnati. That would have been a fluke. They would have had to have been incredibly desperate for judges, and even then probably wouldn't have said yes.
To be fair, there was a lot of people at SCG Cincinnati.
There were. Secondly, if you are a judge that hasn't quite broken into, the large event circuit,
Yeah.
and you're still hoping to get onto your Grand Prix and your SCGs, the fact that you're already involved on a project
It's huge.
is going to put you way ahead of many other judges out there. Because I know there are some folks I know who are longtime L1s or L2s that may still have trouble getting on events because they haven't made themselves really known yet. They haven't expanded their horizons. They maybe made L2 so that they could do PPTQs at their store, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's what they want out of judging, and that's great for them. But if they don't work with other judges, then it's really hard to let other people know about you.
Yeah.
So projects are a great way to do that.
Projects are a great way to get your name out there. Even for like a project that doesn't have other judges in it, if it's a project that's public, that other people can see your work, that's huge. Like people can see, yes, this person can run a project and publish this content. Yes, this person can do whatever they're doing in that project. And even if like there's absolutely people out there who have heard of Judging for the Win who haven't heard of David Eldon, because that's what happens if you're involved in a project. The project has its own like brand, its own identity, and people who haven't heard of you personally will have heard of your project, and that is another really great thing. That's my final point of why project involvement is a great thing, because you know what the best feeling in the world is? It's knowing that there's people out there, maybe people you don't even know, who are touched by the work that you do and who benefit from the work that you do. That is amazing. That is an amazing feeling. Everybody in the chat who is watching right now, everybody who's watching this video on YouTube right now, thanks so much for watching my content. And every time...
and mine.
Yeah, I mean, like... My content, I'm only speaking for how I feel. If Dalton feels the same way, I invite him to agree or disagree.
I
But
agree.
Anytime someone watches my content and says, hey, I thought this was great, or hey, this really helped me understand this topic, that's like the biggest, oh yeah, that is the reason why I do these broadcasts, or that's the reason why I write articles, that's the reason why any educational project that I'm involved with, any project that I'm involved with, seeing people value the work that you do and get value out of the work that you do is a great feeling. Absolutely great.
Yes, this weekend, as I mentioned before, David and I were at Gen Con.
Yes.
Judging. And on the third day, on Saturday, I got put on an event with 2 other judges, one I'd worked with before, one I had never met.
Okay.
When I introduced myself to him, he said, hey, I've watched your streams on Thursdays. I'm a big fan. And I was like, people know me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like,
for sure.
And I'm not the type of person who, I want fame or anything like that. Like, I don't really care. That's not why I do this. But it was so cool having someone say that they benefited. And I also found out that they had just recently made L1. This was their first event as an L1.
Story. He hasn't actually told me this story yet, so I'm hearing it for the first time.
So
just now.
part of what helped him to make L1 and to get
wow.
to mount that hill was us. So that was so cool. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carl.
So
Sorry,
that is, in my opinion, the best reason to join a project, is because if you are the sort of person who, I think basically every person has this drive to, certainly every judge, right? Like, that's why judging is a thing, So if you are a normal person, then you get great satisfaction from somebody seeing work that you do and getting value out of the work that you do. And so that is something that Project gives you the opportunity to experience. And it's a great experience, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Do you have anything else to talk about as far as projects go?
Well, there was a special thing at the end that we were going to do. That was going to be to talk about some of our favorite projects.
Oh, I thought we were going to dance.
Oh, well, we can do that too, but maybe after the stream is over. So
okay,
we'll try to keep our own names out of this, because you guys all know that all the projects we do are awesome. So what is your favorite project that you are not a part of that you appreciate the most?
The one that I get the most benefit out of is Rules Day Tuesday.
Oh gosh, we said we weren't gonna plug our own project.
It's not mine.
Okay.
It's not mine. So at the moment, Marco Sanchez, Jeff Kruchko,
Yeah,
John
it's not my
Verbruggen.
project either, so that's
It's not David's anymore.
yeah, not anymore.
On Tuesdays, they post to their Rules Day Tuesday group a bunch of questions and threads about different topics in Magic and situations that can come up. It's kind of just like a fun little pop quiz of things to kind of get you going and thinking about Magic.
Yeah.
I believe last wave I wrote 2 or 3 exemplars
Oh,
because
yeah.
of judging for the win.
We're
Or
talking
not
about
judging
Rules
for the
Day
win, that's
Tuesday?
us. Rules Day Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wrote at least a few for Rules Day Tuesday because of how much I had benefited from that and how much I enjoyed the consistency of it all.
Oh yeah. So this is something that's really great. This is how you know Rules Day Tuesday is a great project, is because a year and a half plus they have produced content every week, and that is insane. That is an extremely long-lived and well-staffed project, and kudos to Marcos for all the work that he's done on that. That is an excellent project.
Yeah, we are coming up. This is going to be our 8th month of streaming.
Yes.
And I can tell you, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, to like make new content and think about new stuff to write about for a regular schedule for a long term is actually a lot harder than you think it would be.
Which is why we say that if there's anything that you all want to hear about, if there's anything that you'd like us to discuss and talk about, we would love to hear it.
Oh yeah.
Because we do want to make content that you enjoy. And as it is, we are taking our best guess at what's going to be fun and exciting. These are things that we enjoy talking about. But if there's anything you want to hear, hit us up.
Yeah.
So Rules Day Tuesday is one of the ones I really like.
Okay.
What about you?
So I've got a couple that I want to give shout outs to. First of all, I already talked about the graphics design gang. Top tier, excellent thing. These guys are out there doing some really valuable work in my opinion, because this is stuff that I couldn't do. I want to give a shout out to Cranial Insertion. Cranial Insertion is another one that just the longevity of it is truly amazing. I don't know how many years they've been doing it now. Over 5 for certain.
That's a good question.
It might even be in the double digits by now. So that is a weekly thing. The cranialinsertion.com. And I feel a little bit weird plugging for them because they're basically the same kind of content that I make, or very similar to it. It's a question and answer format rules thing, and people can like send questions to them and they answer them, and that's what it is. They write articles that are like that. So maybe that's the reason why I like them so much. Certainly, Cranial Insertion is a big part of the reason why I started making my own content, and so I thank them for that. A lot of hardworking people over in that project. So shout out to everybody there. And the Judge Apps project is another one. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but you know how
I was aware of this.
Did you know how Word is like not really the best software that was ever written?
Yeah.
So
I think everyone else does too.
It turns out that one of the big factors of that, I believe, is the fact that the active development is not a very high priority. Now, in contrast, Judge Apps is some of the best software that I have ever used on a regular basis, and it was made by a team of judges for judges, and I think that's really amazing.
Because some of you younger whippersnappers may have never heard of Judge Center.
Oh boy. Let's just say
I
it
came
was
in
like
right on
Judge
the tail
Apps.
end.
It was like Judge Apps, but not nearly as user friendly. And also, if you wanted a feature added, then good luck with that.
Yeah, so Judge Center had been like the predecessor to Judge Apps.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Judge Apps was sort of created as an interim when they decided to like completely overhaul the Judge Center.
Well, that's not entirely true, because like the applications part of Judge Apps was always around, or at least for as long as I have been a judge, that's been around.
And then,
but the reviews and the exams, those were not always part of Judge Apps.
So a lot of that was on Judge Center, and
Yeah.
then when they went to update it and sort of reset the system, people just found that using Judge Apps was significantly easier, and it became the judging software.
So Judge Apps is great. Judge Apps
By judges for judges.
top tier. Thanks so much to all the Judge Apps team for all the hard work that you do, and that's some thanks that they probably don't hear often enough, because that's one of those things that's been around like for so long that people kind of take it for granted. Believe me, every time I use Judge Apps, which is like a few times a week usually, definitely an awesome project, and thanks so much for your work bringing that to us. So those are my like top list of projects that I wanted to give shout outs to.
Yeah, I really haven't actually invested a whole lot of time into the list yet.
Yeah.
Just because I
It's
know
huge.
my own limitations
It's
and I
huge.
don't have enough time to invest into other projects. But there are some really cool ones I've heard of out there. I know that Collected Company is another one. And I know that Meg Baum
Yeah,
does a
shout
lot
out to
with
Meg.
that. Shout out to Meg for pretty much being Meg.
Shout out. Well, like the funny part about that is that like I think like there's 3 or 4 Megs in Collected Companies. So
Megatron.
shout out to all the Megs.
Shout out to Megatron. That, from my understanding, is a project that looks to get more, I believe it's more women interested in judging. Because in the community, sometimes it's a little bit harder, and you may face some backlash. Not really what I want to get into here. That's a different topic.
Oh, that's another episode.
Yeah, way down the road. But it is more difficult, and a resource like that is really great and designed to help make people feel included in the community. So, big shout out. Thank you very much.
So final shout out. Did you have any other ones?
To me?
Yeah.
Oh, no, shout out to me.
No. For projects that you wanted to shout out to. 'Cause-
Yeah, me, my project.
Okay.
Judging for the
well,
win.
that's this one. So we already did that one.
Oh, rats. You're right.
So we probably don't need to do it one more time. But another huge shout out to Jeff Krutchko and Scott Marquardt. Those are the other people who are involved in the Great Lakes leadership spheres. And so what they do is communications for the Great Lakes project. That would be Scott. And mentorship for the Great Lakes region. That's Jeff. And both of them have been doing an absolutely phenomenal job. Both of them have a lot of initiatives that have really made a big difference in how connected the Great Lakes region is, and how well trained the judges in the Great Lakes region are. I think both of those people have done an enormous amount of work, and so well done to both of them.
This is my round of applause.
Yeah, round of applause for everyone.
Just don't want to mess with the mic.
Yeah. The mic is very robust. It can handle an actual clap. It doesn't
It's
sound
good.
as much like an applause when there's only 2 people, I guess.
No.
What are you gonna do?
Just imagine there's like 20.
Yeah,
of us.
everybody in the
It's
chat
cooler.
can like clap along too, I guess.
So I think that's all I have.
Yeah. So if you are involved in any judge project, thank you for the work that you do. You're an awesome person, and we hope to give you guys the recognition and the value that you add to this program. So join us next time on the Judge Channel, and we will be talking about some other exciting magic and judging related topics. But until that
Hopefully, as affiliates,
time, oh yeah, hopefully.
we'll talk.
But until that time, this is Dave Eldon and Dalton Grimes signing off. Thanks so much, everybody. See you next time.
Bye, friends.